All right, welcome back to the channel. Kel, Special K Brooks says Terrence Crawford is the number one welterweight. Obviously that means that the number one welterweight is not Errol Spence, not Manny Pacquiao in the eyes of Kell Brook. And Kell Brook said if he gets this chance for this fight, that he's going to win it. And he's definitely not going to quit and look for a way out like Amir Khan. I got to tell you, man, there are so many interesting parallels between relationships between these four guys. And I'm hoping that the Errol Spence Jr. versus Terrence Crawford fight does not turn out like the Amir Khan versus Kell Brook fight turned out, but there's a chance. But let's talk about those things in this video. All right, welcome back. Special K Brook, Kel Special K Brook, former IBF 147-pound fighter, the conqueror of Sean Porter to get that belt, is in line, hopefully, for a fight with the current WBO champion at the welterweight division, and that is Terrence Bud Crawford, the number one pound for pound fighter in the world, the number two welterweight in the world, but a guy that unfortunately, and I say number two welterweight in the world because I think Errol Spence Jr. is the number one welterweight in the world, but Terrence Crawford has something missing, which is any real recognizable or respectable name on his resume at welterweight. And that is just a glaring hole in his portfolio. Now, Kell Brook would be a great fight for Terrence Crawford. Now, Kell Brook says a couple things that I thought were really interesting. The first thing that he said was that Terrence Crawford is the number one pound for pound guy in the world, and that he's the number one welterweight. I don't see him being the number one welterweight in the world, but when Kell Brook says that, then Kell Brook is saying you can infer from what Kell Brook's statement that if Terrence Crawford is the number one heavy welterweight in the world, that means Manny Pacquiao is not. That means that Errol Spence Jr. is not. So Kell Brook in his mind is going after the top guy, the number one top guy at welterweight. Now, Kell Brook is somebody who has already fought guys that at the time I thought might have been the top guy at welterweight. When Kell Brook beat Sean Porter, that was during the time I do believe that Keith Thurman was also around, and Keith Thurman might have had his title at the time. But I thought that the win against when Kell Brook beat Sean Porter, I thought that put Kell Brook as the number one welterweight in the world. That's how I felt about it, because I felt that I felt Kell Brook had the ability to beat Keith Thurman. Could have been a good fight, but I thought that he had the ability to beat him. So Kell Brook would be fighting. He's a guy that used to be one of the top welterweights. He lost in a good fight, even though he got broken down and he got stopped, but a good, competitive, tough fight with the guy I think is the number one welterweight in the world, which is Errol Spence Jr. For him to fight Kell Brook, I think is a very good, for him to fight Terrence Crawford, I think is a very, very good fight for Terrence Crawford. And it would put Kell Brook, it helps Terrence Crawford because Terrence Crawford gets that big name, but it also gives Kell Brook a real shot at doing something that is significant. There is a chance with Kell Brook, Terrence Crawford, there is definitely a chance that Kell Brook can pull that fight out. Definitely a chance that he can pull that fight out. I have it somewhere around, a 75-25, I think it's 75-25, all things considered. And as far as the percentage of chance, but I could be wrong. And when you have a 75, even at a 75-25% chance, that's the toughest fight that Terrence Crawford has been in, period. And since that's the case, hey man, you might be able to catch Terrence Crawford slipping, man. He might have some holes in his game that you can expose. I don't see that happening, but it could. And I'll take it again. I'll take it for the resume of Terrence Crawford because Kell Brook is somebody that has fought and beaten top welterweights. Now, as far as what he says about Amir Khan, though, that is where I'm like, man, that is just, it's funny and sad at the same time. Kell Brook said that he's not going to be like Amir Khan and look for a way out. If you recall the fight that probably should have never taken place between Terrence Crawford and Amir Khan, you'll remember that Amir Khan, well, I don't know if Amir Khan quit because the Virgil Hunter threw the towel in. So you could say that it was Virgil Hunter that threw the towel in. And in situations like where the towel's thrown in, I would usually say, yeah, it's the trainer that threw the towel in. It wasn't the fighter. The thing about Amir Khan, though, was that Amir Khan, after he got hit with that low blow from Terrence Crawford, he reacted it was so dramatic and so just, it seemed like Amir Khan did not want to continue on in that fight with Terrence Crawford. But it makes me wonder if the reason that Virgil Hunter threw the towel out was because he could tell that Amir Khan really didn't want to fight anymore. So he's like, Amir's looking for a way to quit. This referee is not going to stop the fight on a low blow. And he's more than likely going to get beat up and stopped anyway. This is too much drama. Let me toss that towel in. That's kind of, and he was obviously, for Virgil Hunter, it was kind of both. His guy looks like he doesn't want to continue, and he's getting the shellacking. There's no way he's going to win this fight. Let's just save it for another day, man. Let's save them brain cells for another day. So in that scenario, I could see why people could say, hey, Amir Khan was quitting. Now, the one thing that you will say about Kell Brook is Kell Brook he took a knee against Errol Spence Jr. in the end of his fight, but I wouldn't say that he quit. I like in some unnecessary way. I think what Kell Brook was saying, because he said it at the time, he was like, man, Errol Spence Jr., those shots, that dude was trying to kill me. He was like, man, or I think the words that he might have used, he was like fatal blows. Like he was throwing some real heat at him and he couldn't see. He probably had already had a broken orbital bone at once in his career. He probably recognized that it felt the same way. It was like, I can't take any more of this beating, took his knee. Are you quitting if you're really if you really do truly feel like you're saving yourself? You know what I mean? But anyway, he says, Kell Brook says he's not going to do that he's absolutely not, positively not going to do that against Terrence Crawford. And I believe that he will try to fight his way out. Also, his bones over his eyes had more time to heal, so they've been in there longer. Hopefully they won't fracture too quickly. But the sad thing in all of this is the interchange between Amir Khan and Kell Brook, because Amir Khan and Kell Brook should have been an Errol Spence. That should have been an Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford type of fight in the UK, right? Where you had your two top guys who are around the same weight class. They were both, they're both on the way up. Both had very good reputations. I do believe that Kell Brook was at 147, and Amir Khan is a little smaller. He might have been, but I believe he was fighting. He got and was fighting successfully up at 140 pounds. That was just one more. That's just one weight class for Amir Khan to go up. And you could have had a mega fight in the UK between Amir Khan and Kell Brook, but Amir Khan didn't want that. And then he winds up losing, getting knocked out, right, several times. Kell Brook winds up getting stopped multiple times, right? So now these guys, if they fought right now, it would just be some big washed up thing, which is relating it back to the Errol Spence Jr. Terrence Crawford thing. That's why I'm glad that Kell Brook is fighting Terrence Crawford, because I think that the only real thing that is preventing the fight that would prevent a Terrence Crawford Errol Spence Jr. fight from happening is the perception that Terrence Crawford doesn't have a fan base. right? Or doesn't have a large fan base or distinct fan base from Errol Spence Jr. And as a result, they don't feel like the money's really in the fight, right? Enough for both people to make their money. Errol Spence, Tim Smith from the PBC has said as much. So has Derek James, the trainer for Errol Spence Jr., and so has Terrence Crawford himself, that said the fight's going to happen when all the money's there. So enough to make the fight. So by fighting Kell Brook, and I do believe he should probably fight Kell Brook over there in the UK. Hopefully that'll, do enough to make people think that, or to get his name out there or whatever, enough to motivate people to allow that Errol Spence Terrence Crawford fight to happen, because it would be an absolute shame if it didn't happen. But anyway, those are my thoughts on the matter, man. Kell Brook, I like Kell Brook as a person from what I know of him. I think he's a very, very good fighter. He can definitely give Terrence Crawford a good fight. Obviously I don't pick him to win that fight, but it's about the best fight Terrence Crawford would have been in a very long time, if not ever. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.